Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Alix Gasser. Joining me today is Nathan Littlepage, founder of QNS LCC. We'll also be hearing from Nathan Gladden, a reporter with the Southeast Missourian about journalism in Southeast Missouri. Finally, we'll talk to Lisa Armbruster with The Bar, a newly renovated icon on Themis Street, all next on Cape Chronicle. Ooh, that. Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Alix Gasser. Joining me now is Nathan Littlepage, the founder and fractional COO and CSO at Qualitative Network Solutions. Welcome, Nathan.
Thank you, Alix.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about QNS and what all you guys do.
That is the million-dollar question I get asked a lot. So QNS is a organization that has evolved over the years, and our main goal is to basically help organizations like companies and stuff like that find gaps, find holes that could potentially be problematic as far as keeping the business continuity going.
Okay, gotcha. I know part of that involves risk assessment. Part of that is cybersecurity.
Yes.
Part of that is looking at it from just the organization as a whole, that be people, that be technology.
Yes.
So explain a little bit kind of how do you guys go in and do that, and what do people need to look out for?
Well, a lot of our clientele are referred to us either through investors or through bankers or other people we've helped out, and so we get referrals that way, so that's why we don't really advertise. What it usually boils down to is that, let's say an investor has invested into a corporation or into a company, and it started off as a small SaaS or something like that, and the founder is not ready to move into that next level. What we'll do is we'll go in and help the founder or help some of the organization find any bottlenecks, find anything that's going on. And we don't come in as an advisory role. We come in as an authoritative role. So that's where the COO, the Chief Operations Officer or Chief Strategic Officer comes into play, is that we have that clout to be able to make changes into the company to get them where they need to be. Because business continuity is a thing that, can bite you in the butt real quick. Whether it's some frivolous lawsuit or it's not having the governance in place. So we examine all that kind of stuff, whether it's the processes that are in place for the company that they're using right now, the team, are the right people in the right seats, the technology. Again, that boils down into the cybersecurity part is, are you using antiquated technology? Are you leaving yourself wide open? And then the last thing really that we kind of cover is communication. I mean, do you have a vertical where there's communication up and down the different levels of the company, as well as laterally across the different divisions?
So would you say, what would be the number one thing that you find most in companies that people are lacking? Like, what is something that, if you could give one piece of advice to organizations out there, what is the one thing? One
person holding all the cards. So whether it's a founder or whether it's like a software developer, there's no contingency in some of these places. It's like this is a one-man show, or they have this one person that they've hired to program all this language. Well, I always go to them and I ask, what happens if this person wins the lottery? This programmer here who's written all your code for your infrastructure suddenly wins the lottery. He's not going to be here. Is everything documented that he's been doing? Do you have somebody that's standing by in order to take his place? So those are kind of the simple things that we look for. Bigger things are, like I talked about, governance. Are you looking to get into an area where your data needs to be secure? There's HIPAA requirements if you're in the medical fields. There's also SOC 2 compliancy. So that's where the cybersecurity kind of gets into it. But as you can tell, it's a layered effect.
Oh yeah, succession planning, all of that. I mean, that's hitting home on so many levels. I think so many people forget that piece of.
They do.
If someone, if this person unfortunately passes tomorrow, who's going to do their job or who's going to pick up the pieces? Do you know their password to even get into the computer that holds all the information?
And that's very true. And the other things are, disasters that might happen that are unforeseen because, you could have a fire, you could have, tornado damage or something like that. Is everything that you've got located on site? Because the big thing that corporations or companies need to basically look at is that they're not only there to make a profit, but they're also there to take care of their employees. And, having that resilience to be able to bounce back or to pivot, I like to call it pivoting, helps them out. If somebody has a fire and they don't have an online presence, that's going to hamper your sales or whatever you've got. So having those two type of things in place at the same time, yes, you might not be doing as many sales online as you can with a storefront, but if that storefront, something happens to it, God forbid, you could pivot to the online resource.
That's so smart. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it is.
Which is why you're the expert in that.
It's those things that have pointed out. I mean, I worked in counterintelligence in the military, and so protecting assets and mitigating liabilities was a big, shall we say, point of execution for what we did. So thinking about those kind of scenarios and helping, founders or whoever do that. And the other thing now too that I'm seeing a lot of is, a lot of more baby boomers are getting ready to retire. They're business owners. I think it's like over 50 some odd % of the people who are 55 and older own businesses. And a lot of them don't have a contingency plan as far as where they're going to go later on. So we help them kind of come up with those. And a lot of them have kids that don't want to do that. So you either find somebody to buy your company, and the other aspect is like, is it all in your head? Or is it out there to where somebody who picks up the company is going to say, I can run with this?
Oh, yeah. So is QNS a regional company, national company, or?
It's a national company. We have probably about 100 different clients that we've had over the past. I've had people from Guam and from, I got a few clients in Alaska now, which is an interesting aspect. I'm always asking them, how cold is it? Okay, just keep it up there. So it's one of those things. It's traveled by word of mouth. And some of my background was in telecommunications and internet service providers. So that kind of spread based on what I did is interacting with other companies and all that. So we take that and just run with it. But, anybody could use a little help every now and then. It doesn't matter what your business is.
Those are just such excellent points, and I think I just love the things that you're sharing because I think it's things that people forget about, and I think doing it even on an annual basis, that's the other thing is how often are you thinking about some of these things? It's so important.
Well, and that's the thing. We come in initially probably in anywhere between a 12 to 18-month contract, and we go through and basically set out what we need. We don't just give you a binder. We actually fix the problems. We actually do that. So, I've been to companies where they've got, oh yeah, we got a disaster recovery, and here's this year's, and they've all got about this much dust on top of them. We go in and actually fix the processes. We come up with new ideas, and we do a lot of information now with taking it to AI to do the data crunching. That helps shorten some of our lead time in finding those bottlenecks, loopholes, and anything that might be missing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nathan. I really appreciate it. After the break, we'll hear from Nathan Gladden with Southeast Missourian. Stay with us.
What does it take to stand tall? To let curiosity take root? To let your dreams take flight? You have to be too stubborn to quit, too smart to fail, forged with an iron will, raised on river mud and big dreams. You have to know when to dig in, because the Mississippi is wide, but your ambitions are wider. You have to be fearless, because the only thing to fear is your wasted potential. So go deeper. Carve your path without permission. Turn your grit into greatness. stand on a community who has your back. This is your small town with big ideas, where hometown pride makes a global footprint. This is where you find your fearless. This is SEMO.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Alix Gasser, here to talk about his experience as a reporter in Cape with Nathan Gladden with Southeast Missourian. Hi, Nathan.
Hey!
All right, so you've been with the Southeast Missourian for a while.
Yeah, I'd say about 2 years now.
Okay, so tell us all about what it means to be a reporter in the Cape Girardeau region.
Well, I mean, I've been a reporter in Cape Girardeau for probably more than 2 years now. I mean, I graduated from SEMO, so I reported there at the Southeast Arrow, and then I came to the Southeast Missourian right after that. And I mean, Cape Girardeau as a place, I think is great to report on, especially in my beat. I report on city government, so you know, working with city government in my position as reporter. It's been, I wouldn't say an easy thing to do, but it's been fairly fun and informative for me, who takes an interest in that. I mean, for example, when I was at SEMO, I was reporting at SEMO Board of Governors on their meetings, and you'd have 3-hour meetings that you're in, and I never found it boring. You know, so coming into to city council meetings and seeing that same type of process at play that you would see at the Board of Governors, it was sort of just a skill that crossed over really well into that. And so working with the people and interviewing the people has always been a pleasure, and it's been great.
That's awesome. Are you from this area originally?
So
or?
I'm originally from Donovan, Missouri. It's about 2 hours away from here, a very small town. So went up here for college and stayed ever since.
Awesome. I'm a transplant myself, so I completely understand. But yeah, that's awesome that you get to report on all those things, and that transition seems like it just fits perfectly.
Right.
So what are would you say, some of the most exciting things that you've kind of experienced in the last 2 years reporting on the beat that you're reporting?
Right, and I would say some of the most exciting stories that I've gotten to follow, and this may not sound exciting to certain people or a lot of people, but I would say a big thing that I really enjoyed reporting on here in Cape was the water system. We for people who don't know, we had some issues with our water system in Cape Girardeau, and there were 2 attempts at getting a vote through, and the second one passed to sort of help raise money or fund those improvements to the water system. And that was a really interesting issue to dive deep into and just watch it evolve over time. You know, I've gotten to report on elections, but when I get to really dive deep into those particular issues, that's what I find the most interesting, because it gives you a lot of time to investigate and really find the root of what's going on. And so I would say that was one of the stories that I really enjoyed following. We had an interesting thing happen last year with the eclipse, that we all got to witness, and that was a really fun thing, to one, take photos of, but see, everyone from different communities and different places come here and watch that happen.
That's awesome. So when you're doing like your reporting, what all does that entail? I know it goes into the investigative piece because you have to do research, you have to understand the history and those types of things. And then you mentioned photography. Are you doing some of the photography for that as well? What all goes into it?
Right. So for me, it's different with different reporters, but for me, I'm sort of all across the board. I have loved taking photography, so where they need me there, I will cover. And for the city government part, it can involve sunshine requests. It can involve that, but often it just, involves outright requesting, hey, I need these certain types of documents going past few years, and researching through those, reaching out to people, collaborating with other reporters to really brainstorm on how to effectively cover a story. I had worked with other reporters, Bob Miller in our newsroom, on reporting on the water system, and he was a great person to sort of brainstorm ideas with about how to tackle that. And so there's a lot of legwork there, and then just writing the story. But yeah, I would say that's sort of the process.
Awesome. What's with that? You said it's very collaborative, and is there? I mean, I'm sure there's timelines that you have to be under and those types of things. So, is it a high stress position, or?
I mean, it's maybe to certain people. I mean, at times it can be high stress because at times you're running on very tight deadlines, and you have deadlines every day. Some deadlines can be tighter than others that are going to push you harder. So, yeah, I would say those days are more stressful. But the day-to-day, having weekly deadlines is sort of not weekly, but daily deadlines is a usual thing for a reporter to get used to. I mean, coming out of college, it's kind of different, but when you get into the daily newsroom, you get used to it pretty fast. And so I don't feel that type of stress on the daily. It's those days where you're covering 3 events back to back, and you're trying to get all those stories done by the end of the day. So that's those are the times that can be a little stressful.
Yeah, I don't know how I would keep it straight in my head.
It can be hard.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. It sounds like you've just had this amazing kind of transition and continuing to do some really cool things here in the city of Cape, and I appreciate you sharing about that and your experiences here. So thank you so much for joining us. Next up, we'll be joined by Lisa Armbruster, owner of the bar.
What does it take to stand tall? To let curiosity take root? To let your dreams take flight? You have to be too stubborn to quit, too smart to fail. Forged with an iron will, raised on river mud and big dreams. You have to know when to dig in, because the Mississippi is wide, but your ambitions are wider. You have to be fearless, because the only thing to fear is your wasted potential. So go deeper, carve your path without permission, turn your grit into greatness. Stand on a community who has your back. This is your small town with big ideas, where hometown pride makes a global footprint. This is where you find your fearless. This is SEMO.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Alix Gasser. Local icon The Bar reopened with the new year. Here to tell us about their experience so far is owner Lisa Armbruster. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you having us.
Of course. All right, tell me all about this awesome place that's downtown. We're so excited that it's open again.
Where to start? Okay. So my husband and I, we just love walking downtown. We love looking at all the old buildings and dreaming. And then we saw the bar, and it must have been Destiny, and we put in an offer, and here we are. We didn't know about the movie. We didn't know about the history of it. We didn't know anything, but we loved the space, and we just wanted a way to get involved in Cape, and what better way? It was already called the Bar. Let's do it. So we just rolled with it.
That's wonderful. Are you guys transplants, or are you from the area, or?
Well, sort of both. So my husband and I recently retired from the military.
Okay.
And he's from Boerne, so about an hour south, and I'm from Oregon. So when we both retired, we ended up coming back home, and we lived in Boerne for a little bit, and then we just fell in love with Cape, and it's really our first place we'll be putting roots, which is exciting.
Awesome. Well, Cape is such a wonderful place, and hopefully everyone has welcomed you with open arms, because we're just so glad that that icon is open downtown. So tell us a little bit about this reopening and what exciting things you have going on and what people can expect.
Okay, well, kind of the biggest challenge was to preserve whatever it was in finding out about the space, including the movie, but also bringing something new and something fresh. So what I've got with me today, I've got a little, what is it called? I've got a prop today. All right, so our beer dispenser is the only beer dispenser in town that I'm aware of that fills from the bottom. So every pour or every fill is a perfect fill. Now, when you like that head on the top or you like a little foam, there is a technique to get that. So every pour is perfect. We're not wasting it, we're not spilling it, and we're not making a mess. The biggest part.
Amazing.
Now, at the bottom of the cup, because you can see it fills from the bottom, there's a hole.
Yes.
Like, how does the beer not fall through? So what we have is a little machine, a dispenser, that drops a magnet in the bottom. And so I brought a few to show. And so we have our logo on some of them. And some of them are fun things like dad jokes, would you rather, is the internet really a place? Just kind of like drunk debates, they call them. But they're kind of fun things. And then we also have on some of them, you'll see like little discounts or coupons, and these particular ones like free draft. So you have to look at the magnet. They are single use, and so the customer takes them home, puts them on the fridge. Some are QR codes, some are discounts, some are free things, so like a little souvenir. And so we also, here's the really awesome part, at the every glass of beer at the bottom is an advertisement. So wouldn't it be awesome if it was yours? So here's a little sample, advertise here. So we are working with some local businesses around town to advertise their business, product, service at the bottom of our beer. So how cool is that?
That's awesome. And it encourages you to go back so you can collect all of the magnets.
That's right.
And just, that's so wonderful. That's so cool. I'm excited to try it out.
It's pretty awesome, just watching it like fill from the bottom and it stops. And it's all lit up, and it's just like one of the most beautiful things.
These are really cool. That's so fun. Oh my gosh. I'm very excited about that. So what other cool things do you have in store?
So we have,
I mean, that's like kind of top of the list, obviously.
That's been a lot of fun. Brought a lot of people in, and we've played around with it. We just had a lot of fun with it. But some of the other things that we're excited about, we're having live music come in, and we have all kinds of events just sprinkled throughout the month. So for this month, love is in the air. There's all kinds of things for February. So we will have live music on Friday, and then Saturday we have the bars version of The Bachelor.
Ooh, okay.
So, you don't want to miss this. so it's kind of like the dating game show meets modern day Bachelor show. So there will be one bachelor and a divider and 3 lucky ladies. Only one's really the lucky one, right? But there will be 3 ladies on this side, and he will never see them. They will never see him. It's a series of questions. And nowhere will anyone feel humiliated or embarrassed. That's not what we're doing here. But good entertainment. We need spectators. So if you don't have any plans, we need audience engagement here, audience participation. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Now after that, we'll have the Bachelorette and 1 lucky man, but 3 men with the divider, and so it's the same type of show. And whoever is picked to go on a date will go on an all-expense-paid dinner by the bar to somewhere local. So we're keeping it local, and we're really excited about that. And the ones who aren't picked will walk away with a consolation. And of course, we'll have a drink before. Get everybody ready. We'll have a drink after. We'll probably have an intermission and have a drink.
with the
It is the
awesome.
bar. Yeah. March, so we have March Madness, Martini Madness coming up. And we'll kick off with a paint and sip, which will be our very first one. And then we'll have different martinis every week. So, of course, you want to make it so you can try each of them. And then we'll conclude the month with a mixology class. What are we making? Martinis. So it's going to be great. Martini Madness. It's going to be awesome. And then we have live music sprinkled in there. We've got upbeat, piano, acoustic, and jazz. We've got a jazz night. So we're really excited about that. We have kind of a variety, and we're still in our soft opening, so we're still trying to get a feel for what Cape wants or needs or thinks they want or need, and just kind of see, and we'll adjust. We'll pivot if we need. We heard that word earlier today,
yes.
right? And we'll make adjustments. So we're just excited to be able to have a space to offer things that maybe are a little different.
That's wonderful. I'm so excited that you've brought kind of life and energy back to downtown, and just there's so much, sounds like so much fun and vibrancy. We need that, and thank you so much for being here and sharing so much, and I hope everyone listening comes out and enjoys in February and March, and I'm sure you'll have lots more events going on throughout the spring and summer too.
Yes,
so.
ma'am.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. Thank you for joining us today on Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration among the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University, the City of Cape Girardeau, and River Radio. Our executive producer is Anthony Shearer, and I'm Alix Gasser. We'll see you next time on Cape Chronicle.